Hey everybody, it's Hyper, and this is another video in my series, How to Play Arma Like a Marine, and this is going to start off with some very basic skills, like familiarizing yourself with your equipment. And we're going to start with the map and compass, which are essential tools for anybody on the ground, or doing any sort of military operation, ever. GPS is essentially an aided map. It's a map that's on a digital interface, and usually it has some way to connect you to the GPS network and give you an accurate location. We're not going to use that. We're going to start with degraded because that's the better way for you to understand the theory of land navigation. Anyways, I don't want to keep it boring because it's not, but you're going to need a lensatic compass right here, which is a compass, US Army lensatic compass, and a NATO map for this. Now, once you have a map and a compass equipped, all you have to do is press K. It'll bring up your compass. And then we can right click to aim down the sighting wire of your compass and get what are called azimuths, or directions from you to a target or any other object in the area. Now, to get more into detail on the compass, if we do zoom in and we look at the face of the compass, which is the top where you see the compass rose, which is northeast, southwest, you see that it freely moves. When I change direction, so does the compass. Now, the triangle on the compass points to your north. So if you ever need to find where north is, pop out your compass, and wherever that arrow is pointing, that's to your north. In real life, you have to make considerations like steel or iron-based objects near you, declination, power lines, stuff like that. But in games like this, you don't have to worry about details like that. But you can always find where north is. We could find our cardinal directions, east, west, and south, based off just having that knowledge, right? Now, there's also intercardinal directions. If I face directly northeast, that's the intercardinal direction northeast. Or if I'm facing northeast, but I'm facing more north than east, I'm facing north by northeast. And that's just an easy way to explain where you're facing by utilizing the face of a compass. Now, the next thing on the compass is you have numbers on them. You see the outer ring of numbers in black, that's smaller, and then the inner ring, which is larger, and it's red. The outer ring is called your mils. The inner ring are your degrees. So mils go from 0 to 6400, and degrees go from 0 to 360. Typically, it's easier to use degrees when you're trying to give talk-ons or describe places and you're not trying to go into super precise detail. And mils are used for things like targeting or getting really far distances accurately with lots of detail. So just for the sake of land nav, you will typically use mils, and degrees will be used for callouts and stuff like that, or doing things like maybe close air support and things like that. Anyways, just make sure you make the distinction that the smaller red numbers are degrees, and the larger red numbers are degrees, and the smaller black numbers on the outside are mils. That way, if somebody says 60 degrees, you're going to 60 degrees. They look very similar. They both are a 60 on the compass, but one is going to be facing roughly north, and then the other one's going to be facing northeast. So they mean two different things, so always make sure you communicate whether you're using degrees or mils when you give callouts and stuff like that. Now, the next thing I want to show you is your map. Now, a map is a pictorial representation of the Earth's surface drawn to scale. The reason it's drawn to scale is because each one of these squares represents 10 meters. Each one of these large scales, or 100 meters. Each one of these large squares represents 1,000 meters, or a kilometer. And all of these maps line up. So say this is 10 meters from here to here. On a map, it will match up with those squares at 10 meters. So it's drawn to scale, so you can accurately say this thing is this distance from there by using the map. Now, maps have a lot of different symbology on them to help you navigate. There are roads, there are structures, there are cultural symbols like churches, there's infrastructure symbols like junction points and power lines and stuff like that. And I will cover those in other videos in the series, so definitely check out the infrastructure videos and other man-made feature videos and stuff like that to go into more detail on those. Right now, I'm just going to do a basic overview of the map. So when you open the map from your point of view, it will always have north directly towards the top, south towards the bottom, west to the left side, and east to the right side. Regardless of where you're facing in the real world, the map will always be oriented to the north for the sake of Arma. And the thing that will reflect your direction in game is the compass. So you are facing whichever side this rectangle is on. So we are facing to the southeast right now. If I pull out my compass, we can see, yes, we're facing southeast. And if I change my direction, the compass on the map will change its direction as well. And we can see by this line right here, the exact mils or degrees that we are facing, and it will line up just like that in first person view as well. Now, one thing about the map is it uses colors to get different ideas and information across. For example, if you see green on a map, that is foliage of military significance. So we're right here on the map. Excuse me, no, we're not. We are right here on the map at 081039, and we are facing some tree lines, and we'll be able to see those tree lines on the map marked by green. So from here, I can see that there is a tree line right there, and there's a little gap in the tree line right there. That's significant. This can be cover and concealment for enemy forces. They could be hiding in there. I could be using it as cover and concealment, all kinds of things, and that's what makes it military significant. Because there's other foliage here, but they're just small bushes, it's grass and stuff like that. So you won't see that marked on the map because it's not significant to military operations, whereas this thick tree line would be. And they are accurate. For the most part, they are very accurate. Like that gap in the tree line right there, we can literally see that on the map right here. So I could use that as a landmark or give callouts and get accurate grids by visually looking at that on the map and then seeing the real world representation of that, or the real world physicality of that as it's represented by this gap on the map. And that's what the green will indicate. The next thing you have are your roads. The roads will be yellow, pale yellow, or tan, and those are indicative of roads that vehicles can travel on. Then the secondary trails and paths, where are travelable by foot, are going to be these dashed and dotted linear features on the map. You might be able to get a vehicle on them, but this more or less means it's a footpath, and these are going to be roads. Paths and trails look like this. Roads are going to be solid lines like that. Now, the next things I want to cover are geological features, such as hills, valleys, ridges, and stuff like that. And those are shown by these contour lines. So these reddish brown lines are called contour lines, and they follow the contours of the Earth's surface. So imagine a hill, and every elevation you go up, you draw a ring around that hill following the shape of the hill. It will look like this on the map afterwards. So imagine I'm looking at that hilltop over there, and then I draw a line around there, and then 10 meters up, draw a line, 10 meters up, draw a line, and it follows the curves of that hill. It will look like this on the map at different intervals. And that's how you can tell the 3D shape of something on a flat representation like a map. So each one of these, when you're zoomed out far enough, will be a 20-meter distance between these large lines, which are called index lines. And then when you zoom in, the smaller ones are your supplementary lines, and those are going to be 10 meters apart. And there's this different scale for maps in real life. It usually is 10 or 20 meters or something like that, but the map will tell you what scale it uses. In Arma, it pretty much just goes by the 20-meter scale and the 10-meter scale, just so you guys can better estimate ranges based off of the contour lines you see on the map. So if you see contour lines that are very far apart and not very many of them, that means it's relatively flat land or a very gradual slope. Flat land or a very gradual slope. As you can see, we're sitting right here. We're in relatively flat land right here. But the areas around us, like the hilltops and stuff, you can see that the contour lines get more dense, and there's a lot more of them. That means that this is very steep land right here. So the 20-meter distance is still 20 meters, but it's closer here, which means it goes higher in elevation a lot faster than it would on this flat ground over here. Now, other identifiable things on the map are going to be bodies of water. Water on a map will always be blue. Blue signifies water. And black is going to signify man-made features. So power lines are going to be black. Buildings are going to be black. These little churches and stuff will be signified as black on the map because that's what black on the map means. Now, other culturally significant points will show up as red. So here we have Montfort Castle. There's the symbol for that castle, and it is red. It is a culturally significant area. It is a literal castle, and you can tell because it is red on the map. The next thing is like concrete man-made structures will appear as this concrete like infill. You'll see sidewalks appear like that. You'll see buildings appear like that. For example, this is a sidewalk, this is a building, and you can see that on the map as well. Hunting towers, black on the map, and things like that. Sometimes you will find man-made features that also have blue indicators on them. That just means it's a man-made feature, but it's significant to the water infrastructure of the area. It could be a well, it could be a pumping station, it could be, you know, water purification center, or something like that. And real maps in real life will have something called a legend, and the legend will tell you, okay, this symbol means this. So if you see this on the map in real life, it will be this. Like, for example, it'll say, okay, this symbol right here means a chapel. So if you see a chapel, it should appear like that on the map. And then the other thing I want to show you guys is you can estimate distance on the bottom left right here. So this is your scale. And this is just going to show you at this zoom level, this bar on the map. So if I moved that bar over here or got a piece of paper and marked it off, which I do, and I sized it up to that scale and I put it like over here, I could accurately estimate range to a feature from where I am by using that bar scale. And that's the name of it. It's called a bar scale. And yeah, it's an exact representation of what the scale of meters on land would be drawn to the map. So yeah, that's just basic map reading stuff for you guys. And again, like I said, Arma is a lot more simplified than real life, but all those basic things that I covered right now still stand true in Arma. So I hope this helped you guys a little bit. We're going to cover a little bit more about how to use the map in Arma right now, and I'm going to show you how to use some of your tools. So we're going to do a quick self-location using our tools as well. Let me actually get rid of that. I'm just going to throw that out of the area. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's not important to us. So we know we're in this area right around here somewhere, but we can find ourselves exactly where we are by using our tools. So let's find an identifiable landmark near us. It could be power lines, it could be a hilltop, it could be a radio tower, something like that. And we already know we're on a main road, so we're like halfway there. We know we're somewhere along this main road in Green Valley because I told you that, and you would have some basic knowledge of where you are in real life usually as well. So if we look around, I can see a hilltop with a cross on it, and I can pull up my compass and aim at that cross, and I want to put my guiding wire right on that cross, and I will know that I'm facing exactly roughly 1/600 mils. And we're going to use mils just for my description because that's what I'm used to. And then we're going to zoom out. We're not going to move left or right, but we're going to stay there, and we're just going to tap M to open our map. Once we open our map, we are going to click the compass icon right here, and we're going to try and find a hill on the map that has Christian significance to it. And if I look in this direction, I see a hill called St. Marguerite. So that's a good candidate for having a cross on it because it's a Christian name, St. Marguerite. So all I have to do is the very peak of that mountain is going to be signified by this triangle. And I'm going to put this sighting ridge right here, this front sight, directly on the edge of that. And then the back sight has this little notch on it. This is your rear sight, this is your front sight, and then there is your magnifier right here in the back, and then on the front is your guiding wire. Now again, so the side with the rectangle on it, the side with the guide wire on it, is the direction you're facing, just so you guys always know that. Now we're going to grab a pencil, and after we put it on that landmark, we are going to put a dot right here. And then we're going to drag it, and we're going to make sure it goes through here, stays lined up, and it goes through this little rear sight on the magnifier as well. And again, you should be zoomed out far enough to where you're saying, I'm pretty sure I'm on this road, so I need to be zoomed out far enough where I can see this hill and this road. And once I place that on the center of the hill, put my line to and through that road, since we know we're on the road. And that means that I exist somewhere along this line in relation to that peak with the cross on it. So I'm somewhere along here. But since I already know I'm in the center of the road, I know I'm right here. See what I mean? I'm like right there on the map. And all I did was use the direction of the compass, use the map, and then I identified a landmark and did what's called a reverse azimuth or a back azimuth from that landmark to where I thought I was. And at the point where those intersect, that's my location. So if we look around, we can further confirm that that is indeed our location. On the map right here, I see some telephone lines passing over. I see an unimproved surface trail or an unimproved surface road and a house. If I look above me, I see that I have the telephone wires right there passing overhead. there's a little unimproved surface road right there. It's kind of hard to see from this point, but once we walk up the street, you'll be able to see it. There it is right there, the unimproved surface road, and then I have a house. Now, if I look to the west, I will see large power pylons. And if I'm looking to the west right now, I see large power pylons right over there. So I've just confirmed, like, yes, I'm pretty confident that this is my location on the map. We didn't know exactly where it was, but by using our map and compass, we were able to find our location on the map. And say I'm not on a linear feature like a road. If I wasn't on a road, all I would have to do is say, okay, I need to find another identifiable feature that's roughly perpendicular to this, so the lines aren't long ways, but they're perpendicular to each other. And I see a bunker right there. So that's an identifiable feature on the map. Let's see, where's the bunker in relation to me? It's got to be somewhere. There's the bunker right there. So if I stay down here and I do another azimuth, I aim at the bunker, I open my map, place this on the center of the bunker, grab a pencil, draw a dot right there on center, draw it to and through right here. I can see that I'm roughly on the right side of the road right there. Sorry about that, NVGs. And I'm roughly on the right side of the road right here. And I've also found myself. So if this road didn't exist, I would have still been able to find my exact location by using a reverse azimuth from the bunker and from that hill, and where the lines intersect is my location. And that's just basically how to use your map and compass. You can also leave markers on the map. For example, if I wanted to mark my location, I would just right click, place a marker down. And again, all these symbols have a different meaning, which I'll cover in a different video, but we're just gonna choose blue for friendly. We're gonna choose infantry because I'm infantry. We'll choose recon because I'm doing the job of recon. And then I would just put my unit name or my call sign, and I'll just do this as my call sign. And then that will place that on the map. And right below that, right here, is my location. And this will populate on the map for adjacent friendly units. So they will be able to see, okay, I see where you are on the map because you marked your location. And I didn't need a GPS for it. I didn't need a fancy arrow that shows where I am at all times. I just had to identify some features on the map and say, okay, based off these features, I know where I am. Now everybody else knows where I am. And this is just a super basic crash course on how to use your map and compass. And you can even use the compass at night. I'll show you that really quick. We're just gonna make it nighttime really quick. Okay. Let me close Game Master, sorry about that. So now that it's nighttime, it is very dark. It's hard to see like really heavy details, but what can I still see from here? I can still see the hilltop with a cross on it, and I can still see my compass for the most part. I can still see, okay, there's a cross there at the skyline, and it's almost directly east from me, and I can see that because my compass is illuminated. And you definitely can see the compass at night because they're tritium sites, so they're radioactive and they glow at night. And just like in real life, they work like that in Arma as well. So you could still use a lot of these things at night. And I will do a course on Nightline Nav. That's going to be way down the road. It's a more advanced course. But yeah, that is your basics of using your map and your compass in Arma Reforger. It's pretty simple, nothing too difficult. I'm not even going to bother with the Russian side because there's a reason why they would have never won a force-on-force war with us. It's because their equipment just wasn't as good. And there's a reason why good equipment helps win wars. And the Lensatic compass is one of the best designed pieces of equipment that has ever existed in history. It's fantastic. And NATO maps are great just as well. And yeah, if you guys have any other questions or comments, if you would like to leave feedback, positive or negative, or if there is a video or topic you guys would like me to cover, I can cover a lot of things. I can cover combat operations, I can cover fire team operations, I can cover reconnaissance, I can cover LPs, OPs, I could cover close air support. I had a very unique job in the Marine Corps and I loved every bit of it, and I had to get very good at all of those things in order to be considered competent at my job. So I have a really vast amount of knowledge I could share with you guys, and I loved the Marine Corps. I loved every day of it, so it truly does make me happy to make these videos for you guys. So I would love to see you in the comments and in the Discord and all that other stuff. Also remember, it is PTSD Awareness Month, so if you know anybody who served or you have friends who currently are serving, definitely check up on them. Maybe stop by the website for Wounded Warrior Project or something like that. Consider donating or seeing if you could volunteer or help in some ways. And consider buying a shirt from us that we're using to raise money to provide some veterans with some technology so they can make connections with other people, whether it be for work, school, or leisure, such as video gaming. And it's also going to be t-shirts that are raising awareness for PTSD. So thank you guys so much. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video stream. And until then, catch you guys next time. Peace.